Abstract brainwaves, game genie in the beanie. We ain't on the same stage, leveled up. The epitome of technique. Can't survive in my current thought.
Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video. And we're just going to do this one back to back. Last time I left you with a Space Jam: A New Legacy review. This time I'm fresh out of Shang Chi. What's that? Shang Chi and the 10 Rings. Okay, and I kind of wanted to say Legend of the 10 Rings or something like that. But Shang Chi, I just got out of that. And I'm going to be honest with you. Looking at the trailer, this didn't look like a good movie. Like, I was not excited for it at all. I look at Shang-Chi as a Bruce Lee caricature, and you can tell me that he's not, but going back to the comic books lore, if you look at images of him, tell me that that's not Bruce Lee. So when I saw the main actor, I'm not going to butcher his name, I'll just say Liu, because I believe that's his last name. Simu Liu or Sim Liu, however you want to pronounce that. He didn't give me this like intimidating look of Bruce Lee. But when you watch this movie, you see that that's not what they were going for anyway. They wanted a character who you weren't sure what they were, to kind of give you the backstory of it. You know, there was more than just the martial arts that Marvel was looking for in here. They were looking for somebody who had a personality that everyone could relate to. So a Bruce Lee on screen may not have given you that. You know, you would be looking at a one-dimensional character and hoping that the rest of the cast could carry this movie. And thankfully, that's not what we got. So what was this movie about? Well, you've got Sean, the main character, who him and his friend, played by Awkwafina, her name's Katie in this movie, right? Him and his friend Katie, I shouldn't say in this movie. Him and Katie played by Awkwafina, excuse me. Awkwafina, that's the comedian, that's her name. They're valets, and what this was trying to convey in those jobs were that in the Asian culture, you're expected so much more. You're expected to live up to your potential, and that was going to be doctor, lawyer, things like that. And I've seen feedback from some of my Asian friends who have seen the movie, and they felt, that resonated with them, where, traditionally your parents are kind of putting you on a pedestal. They want more from you. If you've come from another part of the world where, maybe your family situation wasn't how it is over here, it's because they, I'll put it to you like this, and I'm going to try to use my words carefully. If you weren't happy with your situation and somebody gave you a situation that was a little more comfortable, that allowed a little more legroom, to show the appreciation of that, you might work a little harder to do more because you're used to a situation that you didn't like. So I'll leave it to you like that. That said, those overtones were strongly in the movie in the beginning, letting you know that this was just a regular guy. But once it got to where things were irregular, you would see play out very quickly, mind you. They didn't make you wait half the movie. This movie was action-packed. The choreography was top-notch. Excuse me. Some of the best I've seen in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. The movie was Asian AF. I loved it. Marvel was trying to show diversity. That's why you're like, well, where's our Daredevil movie? That's an important character. Or where's our, whatever. Why did we go straight to Shang-Chi? Well, representation. Shang-Chi is not a well-known character, but they want a diverse group of Avengers to show up on screen. So, over 20 years ago, I grew up in a time where people told me I couldn't be Spider-Man because there's no black Spider-Man. There's no way. When you see his hands and everything, although they're white on this side, black on this side, you couldn't be Spider-Man. Halloween, you couldn't be Spider-Man. Flash forward, decades later, we've got Miles Morales, a half black, half Puerto Rican character who is Spider-Man. I know there's an argument there. Well, why didn't they just make a new character? Well, here's the thing. People don't necessarily just go for things that are new, A lot of times, if you name something something that's worked and you've used a slightly new take on it, people will give it a chance. It doesn't mean it's going to be well received, but they'll at least give it a chance, where you can have something that is really good but slept on, never even given a chance because, you know, it doesn't have that name recognition. So what I love about Miles, and we'll get back to Shang-Chi, is that they didn't just say, hey, Peter Parker's black. They made a well-rounded character with his own story and everything. So there you have it. I think that's done in the way that's respectful, whereas some of these other characters is like, oh, this is the new whatever, and that's what it is, and that can rub people the wrong way. So back to Shang-Chi, the diversity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it was about time that they showed some more Asian Americans, Asian culture, all of that in here, and I loved every ounce of it because they weren't trying to conform to, you know, traditional superhero movies and how those things look, where it's just, you know, hey, it's this, you know, Captain America guy coming to save the day and he's always going to get it done and blah, 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 blah. No, we're going to show you San Francisco. We're going to show you where these Asian cultures are, you know, existing at, and there are Asian superheroes, you know, just they were being themselves in that environment, and that's what was cool about it. There were some cameos from the Iron Man series, from that movie. There's a character there. I won't reveal that because this movie's still new, so even though I'm giving spoilers, I'm not going to divulge that spoiler. I don't want to tell the entire movie here. There were some weird looking animals in here too. We go from why Sean is pretending to be Sean instead of who he really is, Shang, and that's because his father is the real villain of this movie, in the sense that he's got these 10 rings and he's looking for his son and daughter. Yes, he's got a sister. Shang-Chi has a sister. They have these pendants, you know, these jewels around their neck, and their father has sent for his, you know, 10 rings group, these assassins, to come get him. He's trained his son and daughter up to kind of be in his family bloodline as, you know, heirs to his, you know, evil empire. He's essentially basically a terrorist. And while he tried to turn a straight and narrow path towards, you know, goodness, some people don't forgive, man. Some people don't forgive. They don't forget and they don't forgive. And one day you find out that as small children, Shang's mother, to protect her son and daughter, to let them go hide inside, and this gang, or like, somebody's got to pay for these debts. You can let the kids go, but somebody's paying for them. And it was her, unfortunately. And she could hold her own in a fight, but 30 people, it wasn't going to happen. So she was killed, and it sent her father, or it sent her husband, Shang-Chi's father, in a fit of rage, to where he got his son to take him to where these gangs were, and one by one he went and just knocked off all of them off the list, leaving Shang, with the responsibility to go after the person who actually killed their mom, who set it, you know, all up. Now, while Shang did this, he really didn't feel like that was him. He was like, look, they trained me to be this killer, but that's not who I really am. So, you know, he was supposed to reunite with his sister and help free her from this, you know, but he left her hanging. So she went on to become this, you know, self-made assassin, running her own fighting dojo. Whereas Shang, he ran off, hid, he created a new identity and everything, and nobody knew he could fight like he could until when these thugs, you know, these assassins came to come get him, to get that, well, not really him, they came to get the jewel. So the setup there was, the father was also looking for the daughter and used a letter going to his son saying that the daughter wants to meet. And it pretty much just led the gang right to her as well. There's some cameos from Wong from Doctor Strange. He was in there. Abomination from the Hulk series is also in there. So that was cool how they made all that work out. very fun to watch. Again, like I said, the choreography was great. It all comes to a head when you realize what these jewels were for. Father wants to let son and daughter know that he thinks mom is still in some way around and able to reach them. All they have to do is get to her initial village, her village where she's from, that has all these mystical animals, this forest and everything, and release her. The reality is there's some soul-sucking, demonic-like creatures on the other side, and not the mother. But if you have these 10 rings, they're able to be manipulated. Now, part of me was like, is this Fing Fang Foom? And I'll have to look that up on my own to see. They never really named what these creatures were, but they were there, and that was pretty much everything in the movie up into that critical battle. Father versus son, the mother's tribe teaming with Shang Chi and Katie and Shang Chi's sister against their father, and these, the father didn't team up with the demonic creatures, trust me, but he realized the error of his ways. I'll just leave it like that. So that out of the way, you got to stay. There are very, very important after credit scenes. There's a mid credit scene and an after credit scene. So Marvel movies, you always got to stay for the whole thing, because you just don't know what they're going to show you. But the first one hints at what the future of the Avengers is going to be. So you've got to stay to that. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but yeah, there's some Avengers like stuff there. And then the last credit scene you got to stay for. I won't reveal that, but it pretty much confirms that there's going to be a second movie. So we'll see when that comes out. I had some of my Asian friends tell me, hey, you need to support this movie like we supported Black Panther. I hear you. I just looked at it on the surface and was like, it may not be that good, but it actually was. So what would I give this? Believe the hype. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I was like, there's no way Shang-Chi, an unheard of, I want to say he was undeserving, but, you understand why by now, by this review, why they got him in there. And it's not just because he is Asian, but that plays a big part of it, having a diverse group. And it's not just Shang-Chi with no powers, just martial arts. They've given him this 10 rings, and when you see this after credit scene, you're going to see why they're making him a very important part of this team going forward. So I'm looking forward to the next movie. They left, they piecemealed some breadcrumbs for the next ones, and we'll see if anything that Shang-Chi does tie into some other Marvel movies and shows before they finally unveil another Avengers. But for the review, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It deserves it. The ending, the climactic battle went on a little too long for me, but it was still very well executed. I enjoyed it. I would definitely watch that movie again. I'm probably going to get it in my collection. You take away Marvel from it, it holds up on its own as a really good movie. Some people are like, well, these movies just benefit from being in a Marvel universe, and that's true, but this one on its own was a really good movie. So let me know what you guys thought. Did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? I can't imagine anyone hating it. Where would you rank it in the Marvel movies list? Do you agree with the review? If I didn't say that just now, let me know in the comments what you thought. Hope to see you guys again. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Hopefully, we'll probably see Venom next, and I'll give a review on that. I'm really looking forward to that. When I say Venom, I mean Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. It had been scheduled for next month, then it was pushed all the way to next year, and then suddenly it's been moved back to October 1st. So I am really excited about that, and I can't wait to review that. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Other Yellow Hat Guy is out.
Captain Sensation.